I've got 5 drawing techniques that you can use to improve your drawing skills today. These are going to be 5 shading techniques that you can use in your drawings, in your sketching. Definitely designed for when you use a pencil and when you use charcoal. These are going to be cross-hatching, hatching, tonal, smudging, and stippling as well. So these 5 techniques are ones you can definitely incorporate into your next drawing. So stay tuned for the video and look out for this. So let's get into the shading techniques. So the first technique we're going to use is called hatch or hatching. So the hatching technique, you're going to use lines to define the shading and the tonal values of your drawing. So for example, I will show you now. So first thing, we're going to draw a circle. All right. We'll draw a circle on the paper. And then what we're going to do is use the lines and just make, yeah, that's all we're going to do. Use the lines to create a shade, to create a tone. Yeah. So the further away the lines are from each other, it will create a lighter tone, and the closer they are to each other, they'll create a darker tone. And you can also use this by pressing harder on the pencil to create harsher tones as well, and pressing lighter on the pencil to create lighter tones. So you see what I've done there? All I've done is use that just by drawing singular lines. Yeah, just by drawing singular lines. And then we can do the same thing for the shade. Just by drawing singular lines, hatching. Yeah, so there we go. That's hatching or hatch, the hatch technique. Okay, the second one now is called cross hatching. So building on from the hatching technique, we'll draw another circle here. Don't worry if your circle's not perfect. So now, instead of just drawing one singular line, we're actually going to do multiple lines going through. So the lines will actually create the tones, yeah? So you can use different variations of lines to create tone and texture. All right, so here we go. If you see what I'm doing here, I'm using all of this. The light source is coming from here, by the way. This is the light source, yeah? And then the closer we get to this darkest area, we can now add more lines in. Yeah, and we can spread the lines out. The closer that they get to the light source, right? Then we can also create some shadow as well. Yeah. So there we go. That's another quick technique you can use. And you might ask, oh, Josh, when would I really use these techniques? Well, you would use these techniques, in my personal opinion, when you want to create a quick drawing, a quick sketch. So a lot of animators use this. And when you're doing your initial sketches for your illustrations or your final pieces, this is a good place to start. So using the hatching and cross hatching, a good way to create tone and create sketch quickly and effectively, right? So the next one we have here, tonal. So let's do an example of the tonal technique, yeah, when it comes to shading, right? So the tonal technique is just pressing on the pencil and literally sketching, yeah? You're just going back and forth, making dark lines, and it's just the pressure that you put on the pencil. So if you want to have maximum pressure, you're going to create the darkest shade that you can. And then now you can actually ease up. You can ease up the pressure off the pencil when you want to go lighter, yeah? So you see what I'm doing now? I'm using less pressure on the pencil because I'm actually trying to create a lighter tone. Yeah, and now here again, less pressure on the pencil because I'm trying to create a lighter tone. Yeah, so let's round this off a little bit. And then feel free now to erase the parts that you don't want as well. So you can also go in with your eraser and just erase certain parts, yeah? But the tonal shading is just the amount of pressure you put on a pencil to create tonal value. Right? The amount of pressure you put on the pencil to create tonal value. And don't worry if you put too much pressure on the pencil, because you can always erase, yeah? You can always erase right after that. There we go. And then now here, you can create a shadow. And what does the shadow do as well? The shadow gets lighter the further it gets away from our object, right? So there you go. That's tonal. Now, stipple or stippling. What is that? You might ask. Well, let's show you. So now we've got a circle here. Just draw another circle. Very rough, my one is, but you can take your time with yours. Use a compass if you like. And all we're doing now is using just little dots. Yeah, just little dots. And the dots create that tonal value and the texture. Yeah, so it's just dots. And again, you can use the pressure on your pencil to create that tonal value. Yeah, so if you want to create lighter tone, you can just draw lighter dots. But the purpose of doing this technique, it's good. It's a good artist technique. You might have heard of pointillism. So it's like similar to pointillism, where you use dots. Yeah, just little marks on the paper, and it creates a nice, cool texture. It does take a long time, so I won't do the whole thing. But if you've got patience and you got a certain vision for your drawing, for your sketching, you can use the point or stippling, as they call it. Yes, stippling. Stripling, stippling, stripling or stippling, stippling, right? So that's the stipple technique, yeah? Okay, so next, smudge, the smudging technique. So draw another circle here. So smudging, similar to the tonal value one, we're gonna just create, and first I'll sharpen that pencil, right? So let's create now. So I'm just gonna press on the pencil and then go lighter. Yeah, just go lighter. As I get round here, I'll go lighter as well for the mid-tones. So you've got highlights, mid-tones and shadows, yeah? Just to keep it simple. So there we go. Got the mid-tones here and then the highlights. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a tissue and blend it. Yeah. So this is really good if you want to use charcoal. Yeah, if you're using charcoal and you want to blend the tones together to create a softer look, you can go back over it and blend it together more. Right? So you can get really creative with this smudging technique, yeah? There we go. And the same thing, you can smudge. Yeah, if you don't have a paper, you can just use your finger and blend it together, but it's definitely more effective if you have the tissue. Right? And then you can go in with your eraser and define your highlights a little bit more. All right? So there we go, 5 shading techniques. 5 shading techniques we got there. So there you go. That was 5 different shading techniques that you can incorporate into your drawings and your sketches. So I hope you found this video helpful. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next. If you've got other shading techniques, drop them in the comment section. I'll try and make a video on it. But yeah, for now, Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you want to see more tutorials, make sure you definitely let me know in the comments. Peace.